Hello and welcome to Quest Recapped. Today, we will be going through the 2010 American animated fantasy film, Tangled. Hundreds of years ago, a magical golden flower blossomed from a drop of sunlight that had fallen from the heavens. The flower was founded by an old hag named Mother Gothel, who knew about the flower's healing power. For centuries, she selfishly used it to restore her youth and beauty, instead of sharing it with others. And all she had to do was to sing a special song for the flower to activate its power. As time passes, that place turns into a kingdom that is being ruled by a beloved king and queen. One day, the pregnant queen falls sick, and the whole kingdom sets out to search for the legendary magic golden flower for her. Meanwhile, Gothel realizes that soon people will come looking for it, so she has kept the flower hidden under a fake shrub. And when Mother Gothel hears the palace guards approaching, she quickly covers the flower with its usual lid. However, she accidentally knocks the cover at the last moment, exposing the radiating flower. The nearby guards find the flower and take it back to the palace to let the queen have it. Not too long after that, the queen regains her health and gives birth to a healthy princess, Rapunzel, with beautiful golden hair. And to celebrate her birth, the king and queen launch a flying lantern into the sky. At night, Gothel breaks into the palace to steal a lock of Rapunzel's magical hair. However, as soon as she cuts it, the cut hair turns brown and loses its power. Therefore, she steals the child and flees. The whole kingdom looks for the princess to a great extent, but still can't find her. Meanwhile, Gothel raises Rapunzel as her own child in a tall tower hidden deep inside the forest. Though she seems to be bringing up Rapunzel with utmost love, all her love is only for the magical hair rather than for the girl. She has even brainwashed Rapunzel into believing that the outside world is dangerous and everyone is after her hair. In this way, Gothel has managed to keep Rapunzel inside the tower for almost 18 years. The only friend Rapunzel has is a chameleon named Pascal. Growing up inside the tower, Rapunzel's dull life doing chores, reading books, and knitting starts becoming boring. Soon, she picks up painting as her new favorite hobby. But there's almost no space left for a new painting, with the latest one being the painting of herself, watching the floating lanterns added on the wall. Rapunzel is always excited to watch thousands of lanterns floating in the night sky every year on her birthday. On the other hand, the king and queen release those lanterns hoping that their lost princess would one day return back home. She can't help but feel that those lanterns are meant for her. A day before her 18th birthday, Rapunzel is determined to ask her mother to take her to see the lanterns. Gothel arrives at the base of the tower and asks Rapunzel to let down her hair. She then uses Rapunzel's strong hair hooked in a pulley to come up and get down the tower. Rapunzel gathers her courage to ask her mother to let her see those lanterns, only to be labeled as a fragile, helpless young girl. Furthermore, Gothel tells her not to mention leaving the tower ever again and leaves the tower. Meanwhile, Flynn Rider, a handsome thief, sneaks into the palace and steals the princess's crown with his two accomplices, the twin Stabbington brothers. After Flynn is seen by the guards, they escape out of the kingdom and into the forest. And when they face a dead end, Flynn asks the twin brothers to lend him a hand to jump over the wall. But they can't trust him with the satchel with the crown inside it. Anyways, the thief convinces them to trust him, and that results in Flynn running off with the satchel. Eventually, Flynn loses the chasing guards and the Stabbington brothers, but Maximus, the leader of the royal guard horses, is right on his tail. During the tussle between Flynn and Maximus, the satchel flies over and gets stuck in a tree branch at the cliff. Both of them hurry to get hold of the satchel, but they fail to consider the weight exerted on the branch. As a result, the branch breaks and both of them fall down. Thankfully, both are unhurt. And to hide from the stubborn horse, Flynn enters into a hidden passage, and following it, he finds the tall tower. Flynn uses the arrows to climb on the tower, and as soon as he enters, Rapunzel knocks him out with her frying pan. She has never been in contact with another human being other than Gothel, and thinks him to be a monster like her mother has always warned her about. But after confirming that he doesn't have fangs and is just a person, Rapunzel locks him in the closet. And after going through his satchel, she finds a crown and tries it. Just then, when Gothel returns back, Rapunzel is all excited to show Flynn to her mother, and tells her that she is capable of handling life outside the tower. But even the mention of going out makes Gothel angry, and she screams at the poor girl, saying she is never allowed to leave. At this point, Rapunzel realizes that she could never convince her mother to let her go out. So, instead of that, she asks Gothel for a special kind of paint made from white shells, which would require a 3-day journey. As soon as Gothel leaves, Rapunzel takes Flynn out of the closet and ties him with her hair. She asks the thief how he had found her, thinking that he had come for her hair. But after confirming that Flynn is not after her hair, Rapunzel takes the only chance and makes a deal with him. She asks Flynn to take her to see the lanterns and bring her back safely, and only then will she return the satchel back to him. Now, the deal is sealed and Flynn climbs down the tower, whereas Rapunzel uses her hair as a sling and lowers herself onto the ground. As soon as her feet touch the grass and water, there is no limit to her happiness. And soon comes her guilt for not following her mother's command. Flynn tries to coax her into returning back to the tower. However, her desire to see the lights is stronger than her guilt, therefore, there is no going back without seeing the floating lanterns. However, Flynn wants to scare her and make her return, so he brings her to Snuggly Duckling, an inn filled with ruffians and thugs. But his plan backfires when the thugs realize that Flynn is on the wanted list and don't let them out. Rapunzel can't sit back to watch her guide being assaulted, so she interferes in the big guy's business and tells them that she needs Flynn to make her dream of watching the lanterns come true that night. She asks the thugs if they ever had a dream. Unintentionally, the thugs fall into her charms and they all sing about their dream. Meanwhile, in the forest, Gothel encounters Maximus, and seeing a palace horse nearby, she is scared that the guards might be around. So, she immediately returns back to the tower and calls Rapunzel to let down her hair. When her call is not answered, she hurries inside through the secret pathway. And upon reaching the top of the tower, she doesn't see Rapunzel but notices a bright light and finds the crown along with Flynn's wanted poster. Furious at this, she then takes out a knife from the drawer. Soon, Gothel arrives outside the inn and sees Rapunzel happily interacting with the thugs. But moments later, the guards also make their appearance. Flynn quickly grabs Rapunzel and hides under the counter. And with the help of the thugs, they escape through the secret passage. Eventually, Maximus also makes his way into the inn and finds the passage. With this, the Sabbington brothers, who got caught by the guards, grab this perfect opportunity to escape. Meanwhile, the passage leads the couple to the dam, and soon, they find themselves cornered by the palace guards, the twin brothers, and Maximus. Rapunzel uses her hair to swing across to a ledge, and later, lassos Flynn with her hair to pull him from the attacking Maximus. While running, Flynn destroys the beam leading to the outburst of the dam, causing the flood of water to come crashing down on everyone. Just in time, Rapunzel and Flynn make it to the small cave which gets blocked by the falling rocks. The water slowly gushes in to fill up the cave. Now, Flynn accidentally cuts his hands while trying to hit the wall in the dark cave, and Rapunzel blames herself for putting them in this situation. Realizing that it might be their last moment, Flynn reveals that his real name is Eugene Fitzherbert. And Rapunzel also tells him her secret of having magical hair that glows when she sings. A few moments later, her glowing hair illuminates the cave and they notice her hair drifting towards a small opening in the rocks. Then, they both clear out the rocks and eventually make it out. And before Flynn can recover from the shock of her glowing hair, she wraps her hair and heals his cut. Showing a short lock of brown hair, Rapunzel tells him that she could lose her power once it is cut, justifying her mother's act of protecting her. As they chat, Eugene reveals that he was an orphan and that he named himself after a hero from a book. And after a little backstory, he goes to gather the firewood. On the other hand, Gothel shows herself in front of stunned Rapunzel and asks her to return back to the tower with her. Rapunzel tells her that her journey till now has been wonderful and the person she has met seems to have feelings for her. Hearing this, Gothel berates her for being naive. But Rapunzel sternly refuses to return back. Gothel explains that Eugene is just there to retrieve the crown, so she gives her the satchel and tells her to test Eugene's loyalty. But, out of fear of getting abandoned, Rapunzel decides not to test her companion. The next day, Eugene wakes up with Maximus hovering over his face. Maximus tries to drag him to the palace, but Rapunzel stops him. She politely asks him to spare Eugene for a date since it's her birthday, and also, he is there to take her to see the lanterns. This claim works as a charm and Rapunzel quickly befriends him. And now, all three of them enter the town to participate in the celebration. Once they reach the venue, some little girls help Rapunzel with her hair. She then roams around and notices a huge portrait of the royal family and comes to know about the lost princess. However, Rapunzel fully enjoys her day in the town and dances with the locals until it is dark. That evening, Eugene takes her by boat to see the magnificent view of lanterns from the best possible place. When it is time, the king and queen release a lantern to mark the start of the event, which is then followed by the release of thousands of lanterns into the sky by the public. The night sky is filled with glowing lanterns and Rapunzel becomes mesmerized with such a beautiful view. Eugene has even prepared a lantern for them to release as well. At that time, Rapunzel gives him the satchel, but it's no longer important to him. The duo is having their moment, just when Eugene sees the twin brothers at the shore. Now, the boat stops by the shore real quick for Eugene to hand over the crown to the brothers. But before he could leave, the brothers tell him that they want to have the girl instead. They then tie him up with the crown and send the boat in the direction of the palace. Meanwhile, Rapunzel is greeted by the brothers who tell her that Eugene has run off with the crown. She doesn't believe them, but in the distance, she sees a man on a boat. Now, Rapunzel starts running away from them. But just then, Gothel stages her rescue from the crooks. In fact, Gothel and the Stabbing Tin brothers have formed an alliance earlier to seek revenge on Eugene. And here, Gothel tells Rapunzel that she was worried about her, so she followed her and saw them trying to attack her. And now, the heartbroken Rapunzel has no other option than to follow her mother back to the tower. Alone in the room, Rapunzel sadly looks at the piece of cloth that Eugene has given her earlier when they were in the town. The cloth contains a picture of the sun that symbolizes their kingdom. Then, she notices many similar symbols on the ceiling of her room, and the memories from her childhood start surfacing. Just then, Rapunzel realizes that she is the lost princess. Then, she immediately confronts Gothel about it and doesn't let her touch her hair. Meanwhile, Maximus sees Eugene arrested by the guards. From the prison, the guards are taking him to the execution ground. So, Maximus brings the thugs back from the inn and helps Eugene escape from the prison. And without wasting their time, Maximus takes Eugene back to Rapunzel's tower. Now, Eugene screams at the top of his lungs to let down the hair. The hair is let down and he climbs up. But, when he enters the room, he sees Rapunzel tied up. And right next moment, Eugene is stabbed by Gothel, and she tries to drag Rapunzel through the secret pathway. However, Rapunzel fights back and tells Gothel that she promises to go with her, only if she allows her to save Eugene for the last time. With no other options, Gothel allows her to do so and chains up Eugene, so that he won't follow them. Meanwhile, Eugene doesn't want Rapunzel to use her power to heal him in exchange for her freedom. Therefore, he cuts her hair in one swift swing of the glass shard. The hair immediately turns brown and loses all its power. And with that, Gothel also withers into an old lady in an instant. She tries to cover her ugly self up with her cloak. And grabbing the opportunity, Pascal trips her and makes her fall off the tower. Now, Rapunzel sings the song to use her power, but it is of no use, as Eugene dies in her arms. She cries and mourns her lover's death. However, a tear that has fallen into his cheek still contains some of the power and fortunately, Eugene springs back to life. The next day, Rapunzel comes to the palace with Eugene and unites with her parents. The kingdom rejoices in the return of their lost princess and the grand celebration lasts for more than a week. At last, Rapunzel and Eugene live happily ever after. We have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, and share this video. If you also have thoughts you intend to share, kindly leave them in the comment section. See you in the next video.